Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is a call to order for the regular board meeting of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Tonight is Monday, February 27, 2023, and it's 6:30 p.m. Calling the meeting to order. Can I have everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I know a lot of individuals are worried about the snow, so we'll try to get through the agenda to make sure everyone gets home safe and sound. At this moment, we'll have the roll call by Mr. Secretary.
Okay, thank you. Bobby Brown,
Here.
Christine Baptiste Perez,
Present.
Sybil Allen, Albert Benahan, Akeisha Casimir,
Here.
Erica Castillo, Michael Macaron, Joseph Sokolovic,
Present.
and Joseph Lombard present.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this moment, we'll open up the floor for student representative reports. Please state your name and what school you represent.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Mohammed, and I'm representing the Fairchild Wheeler Aerospace School. So this past Friday, Aerospace had various activities for students to do in honor of Black History Month. And we also had 24 students visit Sikorsky last week and attend an engineering presentation. In addition to this, Aerospace has also received the Magnet Schools of America Merit Award of Distinction, and Fairchild has quite a few events up and coming. On March 24th, we'll have our Spring Fling Dance from 5:30 to 9. Our Spirit Week will be from March 27th to March 31st, and there's a lot of interesting themes. Our Senior Pep Rally will be held on the last day of Spirit Week, which would be the 31st, and then on May 11th from 6 to 11 p.m., Fairchild will be having their prom at the Waterview in Monroe, Connecticut. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The next student representative.
Good evening, Board of Education members, and thank you for the time to share an update. My name is Erica Pinto, and I'm here to represent aquaculture as a Central High School student. The Aqua staff are preparing for their upcoming compliance visit from the Connecticut State Department of Education in March. Aquaculture is also planning to host an aquaculture social on March 10th to bring together the aquaculture student body in a fun and interactive night. And our Aqua Cup boat race will take place on June 6th at 2:30 with the rain date of June 7th on Captain's Cove. As always, I invite everyone to join us for this wonderful annual event. We are thankful for your ongoing support.
Thank you. Next student.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Hemmings. I'm from IT at Fairchild Wheeler. And we celebrated Reading Plus Superstars with 20 students who showed the most growth since September, and we had a pizza party. We had computer science professionals visit the school last week to meet with classes and talk about their career paths. We are hosting a volleyball tournament on March 7th and a basketball tournament on March 17th. We had an IT freshman win the district science fair. And also recently, we had a group of students from Bridgeport go to a track meet in Massachusetts. That would be Bassick Central and some Harding students. And we actually scored 55 points as a group. And our 4x2 team actually got first place at the meet in their race. And that is it.
Thank you. Next student. We missed anyone?
Hi, good evening. My name is Isabella, and I'm here representing Fairchild Wheeler Biotech.
In the past month, we had our Black History Month program on the 24th. We started off the day with a community members roundtable discussion. This had live student participants and also streamed live to the whole campus via Teams. After, we had student-run centers with arts and crafts, poetry, a student art gallery walk, dance, and trivia. The Biotech Quarter 2 Honors Assembly is scheduled for tomorrow, but obviously would be rescheduled. We also had an attendance competition for the month of February where top 2 period 1 classes with the best attendance earned a pizza party. Ms. Henner and Mr. Bayer's classes were the winners for February. And that's all I have for you today.
Thank you. Is there anyone else would like to share a report? I see no one else. Thank you, students, for sharing your report. We always look forward to the information that you provide for the board. At this moment, we will move to public comment. I have 4 or 5 people listed for public comment. You will have 2 minutes. Once the timer stops, I'm going to ask that you wrap up your last statement. The first person we have is Ms. Joanne Kennedy.
Thank you and good evening. I always like to lead with the scripture that says, "Suffer the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven." We have to learn how to take care of our students here in the city of Bridgeport and treat them properly like they should be treated. We need our students well taken care of. That being said, it came to my attention that a game that was at Harding, and it was a Harding versus Central game. There were several students, about 50 students that was reported to me by someone close to me, that were left out in the cold in 20-degree weather. That there is some kind of, I can't even say it's a policy because it's not a policy. Something was implemented without the Board of Education's knowledge, without the superintendent's knowledge, that the students had to have a legal guardian there at the game to get in. That is not in anyone's purview to do except for the Board of Education. So since this is a Board of Education, I am wanting to educate people. We look up words, we look up definitions in school. We learn words every single day. They say you learn something new every single day. So I want you guys to learn something new, okay? If you don't know, and the majority of the people, you're adults, so you do know, okay? And it's about oppression. Oppression is imposed domination over an individual or a group of people in order to control them mentally, physically, emotionally, and the worst of all, spiritually. To stifle their aspirations and limit their potential. I'm saying all that to say the police department does not have purview over our students, okay? The police department is shorthanded. We are down 160 police officers. Where do those police officers need to be? They do not need to be in our schools. This was voted on years ago before any of you guys were on this board, and it needs to be rescinded. The police do not run the schools. We need educators and people that love our children that do not want to arrest them to run the schools. Where did those 50, where did those 50 students go that they left out in the cold and 20-degree weather? Do they know how they got there? Do they know how they got home? Did they care? So whoever it was in charge, I'm putting in a complaint about this because it's not right, and you're not going to treat our children like they're criminals. They're not in jail. The majority of them are minors. You're not going to do this continually to our children.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Julie Mar Ortiz.
Good evening, ladies, Joe and folks on Zoom. I want to echo the remarks of Joanne Kennedy regarding the incident at the basketball game where students allegedly were let out in the cold. I myself have attended games at Harding, and I know in the past students and parents have been left out due to capacity issues, but I believe that that was maybe not the case. I'm not sure, I wasn't there, but I really do ask this board to investigate and see what they can find out. And if the police department has taken some type of jurisdiction over our schools to try to control who can get in and out of games, just say how problematic that is with regard to not just, criminalizing our community, but also these games are always a safe space most of the time for our community members, alumni, students to come and enjoy something that's really good about the community. Recently, we had a graduate from Bassick High School, Kevin Crawford, who played a role in securing Albertus Magnus's championship game. I think it was just yesterday. And so we know that a lot of these students become stars on the court in college and professionally, and people just want to watch them play. So if there's anything you can do to help with that, I really appreciate it. I want to bring another concern forth. My nephew, who attends Central High School, keeps bugging me about that the bathrooms remain closed. And I know this is an issue that has been brought forth to this board previously. There was supposed to be a meeting with principals under the last superintendent. I'm not sure what happened with that, but I'm here to ask, what the policy is to keep these bathrooms open or closed, because at this point it's a human rights issue. Students, should have the right to use the bathroom. People who have their periods should be able to, go in and out. And I remember last time that this issue came up, there were students, representatives who said that they had to spend more time traveling further to go to the bathroom, and it took away from their classroom time. So it's not just impeding on their bodily rights, but also on their education rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lyle Jones. Mr. John Weldon.
So I'm here to talk about Policy 9010, board member roles and responsibilities. I just wanted to relay some incidents which happened, get into a little more detail. In 2017, former board member Maria Pereira regularly visited the nutrition center and interrogated staff about the operation because a political supporter of hers in the food service industry did not win a food service bid. The resulting lawsuit cost the district over $100,000 in legal fees and the settlement itself. Mr. Sokolovic at one point visited the science director and told her that her job was considering to be cut, and if she wanted, for budgetary reasons, and if she wanted his support to keep it, she would have to explain why it should be kept. She was mortified, and she reported it to the superintendent, who brought it to my attention and said, what am I supposed to do? Board members are doing this, they're harassing staff, and I, as superintendent, don't have an ability to stop it. And if I try to, I myself may be brought up on charges of insubordination. Mr. Taylor was regularly inspecting buildings and harassing the facility staff, and there was nothing that could be done. And that is why the policy as it stands today was established. Imagine how any of you would feel if a board member came into your place, a board member of your employer came to where you worked and made you feel your job was threatened, whether they intended to or not. And Madam Superintendent, how would you feel if this was happening to your staff and you felt powerless to be able to do anything about it? The policy as it is written is designed to give the superintendent the ability to make sure that staff interactions with board members remain appropriate, and where they start to not be appropriate, give the superintendent the ability to put up a wall or find some way to correct the issue. At the very least, I think you should give the superintendent the ability to decline interactions where she feels they are inappropriate, as long as she gives a reason. My time is drawing to a close, so I'm going to say thank you for this time and this opportunity. Have a good evening and stay safe in the storm.
Thank you. The next speaker is Dasha Spell.
Good evening. My name is Dasha Spell. I am not only a parent, a graduate of the Bridgeport Public School System, but I'm also one of the elected officials for the Democratic Town Committee in the West End, the 132nd District. There are so many areas of concerns that I have that I don't know where to start. So I'm going to start with the main one, Bassick High School, because that is my baby. That is the particular program and information that I've been asking for last 2 years at most. So since we're closing up Black History Month, let me tell you a quick story, Little Liberia. Little Liberia is the community in which the new Bassick High School is being built. This community was built off of the backs of slaves who came from the South and came to this community to build a better life for themselves and their families. Bassick High School, trust and believe, I love the idea of it going into a community with that rich history, but I have huge concerns when, one, it's also going into a community where there's a flood zone. We have yet to have a storm, but when we have storms, they make major damages. If none of y'all have seen the pictures over the years, when we get flooded, you can actually row a boat in Seaside Park. You can row a boat down Ironstan Avenue. You can row a boat down Broad Street. Key phrase is that it floods. So significant damage. My concern is that one, this building that's going to be built was not brought to the table with the stakeholders, meaning the people in the community within the community that the current school is located, as well as students weren't informed of this until the fact. So in closing, I'm asking this board, there's no foundation put up yet. I'm asking you to reconsider and think about the long-term piece of this. Putting money into a money pit, is it really worth it? Especially with all the other things going on in this district. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call Mr. Lyle's name again, just to make sure. Mr. Jones. Okay. Without having to have our last speaker, that concludes public comment. Our next agenda item is approval of
Excuse me,
meeting
Madam
minutes.
Chair.
Yes.
Sorry. One of the student ambassadors or representatives just texted in that they were having a difficult time logging on, and they're on now, and they're asking if they can give the report.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
The student representative that would like to share your, the floor is yours to do your report.
Thank you so much, and I sincerely apologize for the delay. I had trouble with the meeting, but I will continue. Yes, so my name is Julia Estrella. I am the representative for Bridgeport Military Academy. Just a few little pointers. BMA held its Black History Month celebration on Friday. It was a great success with cadets showcasing prominent figures in African American history. Picture day went off smoothly. We are excited to get our new school IDs printed for all cadets, and the senior class raised over $1,000 with Valentine's Day Sweetheart Dance. And lastly, BMA Student Shadow Experience is scheduled for March 7th for all incoming students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this moment, we'll move to our next agenda item, which is approval of meeting minutes. Is there approval for special meeting January 18, 2023?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sokolovic.
Second.
Second by Ms. Baptiste Perez. Any discussion, any changes? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, meeting minutes are approved. The next one is the regular meeting for February 13, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sokolovic.
Second.
Second by Ms. Baptiste Perez. Are there any corrections, any updates, any concerns? Hearing none, motion carries. Meeting minutes have been approved. Oh,
gotta vote.
shoot. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, meeting minutes have been approved. Our next item is the chairman's report. I would like to report that we, as the board, decided to go with goals for the year. And one of the goals was to make sure that board members were going through different retreats. We will have our first retreat of 2023 on Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Hardin High School, at the Hardin High School Library. I'm excited to see that the board is moving forward with this, and we're going to aim for one more retreat as we address the roles and responsibilities of board members and resources board members can use. That is all for my report for the chairman's report. Next is committee reports and referrals. The first one is education, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mr. Sokolovic.
Yes, we did not meet in the interim. We will be meeting remotely tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Any referrals for this committee? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Sokolovic. The next one is the finance committee.
Yes, finance really didn't meet in the interim, but we did have a community forum. It was decent attendance size, about 85 people watched to date. One mayoral candidate showed up, which is a good sign. We'd like to see all the rest of the mayoral candidates show up to the forums and find out about what they're going to be governing. And because education is our foundation. Next finance meeting is, check my calendar 1 second. March 8th.
Okay. Are there any referrals for this committee? Hearing none. The next one is governance.
Governance did meet in the interim, and we have 3 more policies in the pipeline, which will probably be on the next meeting agenda.
All right.
And I got a referral for myself for governance because
Okay.
over and over through the years, I keep hearing this bathroom, bathroom, bathroom. I think we need a constructive policy that states bathrooms should not be closed under any circumstances except for the most dire. There's something that could be worked out even because it seems like we hear about this every few months. They're shutting the bathrooms for some reason, and it's not fair to our children.
Thank you. Any referrals to governance? All right, hearing none. The next one is health, safeties, and facilities. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
Health, safety, and facilities did not meet in the interim. However, based on the content from public comment, I'm gonna make a referral for myself regarding the facilities usage during basketball and all high school level sports. In particular, what is our facilities usage and policy for that?
Thank you. Are there any referrals to health, safeties, and facilities?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to go there, but it's the same in line with Ms. Baptiste Perez. We need to look at the memorandum of agreement that we have with the police department, and we need to really shore that up and really, really clearly draw those lines of responsibility because they do seem to be overstepping as of late.
I also think I have one for you as well on the same lines of sports. This also may not go for, may just be for our high school basketball games, but also those that are not high school basketball games. I believe Caribe runs the sports program as well. So just making sure that whatever policy we have that reflects students attending games and parents, it's the same for that. I'm not sure what that will look like, but if you can look into that so that we're fairness across the board. Any other referrals for health, safeties, and facilities? All right, hearing none. The next one is personnel and contracts. We will be meeting tomorrow at 6:30 virtually. We have quite a few contracts and things to discuss, so we'll make sure that those items make it to a regular board meeting, but I'm excited to see that this committee is moving forward with agenda items. Any referrals for personnel and contracts? All right, hearing none. The next one is students and families. Mr. Benahan is not here, so if anything, we'll give him opportunity when he comes back. When he gets here, if he doesn't.
I'm here, Ms.
Oh.
Ms. Brown, I'm here.
Okay, all right, Mr. Benahan, would you like to give your report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We're gonna have the student family March 16. We changed the date for some personal issue, but the next meeting is gonna be March 16 at 6 o'clock at Central High School.
Thank you. Are there any referrals for students and families?
Ms. Chair,
Yes.
I forgot to add that, just to let you know in my report right away fast, the Bassett High School did the Black History Month on the PTSO. They did amazing, phenomenal job. I would like to say thank you to the board member, Joe Sutcliffe and Ms. Christina Baptistino to attend. Thank you to Ms. Perrin to attend too. We appreciate that. It was good. We had a lot of parents, we got leaders, we got community people. We enjoyed it very good, and everybody, it was very happy. So I like to report that Bassett PTSO did a good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next committee is Teaching and Learning.
Teaching and Learning met on Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. 4 items are up, 2 including field trips. We did get a brief special education update regarding the district, but more details would be provided at a later date. And then we also, what's not listed on our agenda for today is that we had a presentation regarding the library media renewal project, just for our students to have more access to, well, it's implicit in the name, but media resources related to libraries.
Thank you. Are there any referrals for Teaching and Learning? All right, hearing none, we'll move forward with our agenda. The next agenda item is the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
ELA assessments, we have progress monitoring for DIBELS, which will be happening the week of March the 15th. Also, DIBELS measures, which will be happening the week of March the 27th, as well as the phonics inventory, which is the quick phonics survey screener or letter sound inventory. We'll also have close reading surveys administered by social studies teachers for grades 7 and 8, February 27th through March 3rd. Nursing, again, we're reminding families in regards to grade 6 students about the deadline of the physical for April 1st. This is mandated by the state. Without having this done, students will be excluded from school. So it's important that we work to get that done accordingly. Our physical education assessment, students in grades 4, 6, 8, and at the high school level are assessed at the Connecticut Physical Fitness Assessment, and that is ongoing through the end of May. SAT, we are preparing for the PSAT 8 and 9 and PSAT 10 assessments, which will be administered in March. Grade 8 on March 21st and grades 9 and 10 on March the 22nd. Connecticut SAT School Day Update. Grade 11 will participate in the SAT School Day on March 22nd. The SAT will be given digitally. Students need to reboot their devices for the updated app to upload. This will be changing next school year. In regards to that, it will be digital for almost all of our students starting next school year, but this year they're still taking the paper and pencil aside from grade 11. For math, for grade 7 and 8, our math meet will be held on June 1st from 9 to 1 p.m. at Sacred Heart University's West Campus Auditorium. There's still weekly virtual SAT prep classes for sophomores and juniors, 4 p.m. every Tuesday until March the 21st. Upcoming events, the next PAC PTSO Roundtable will be at Park City Magnet School on March 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. We also have our 7th annual NAACP Douglas Garrison debate tomorrow, which is the 28th at the University of Bridgeport School of Chiropractic from 5:30 to 7:30. This is Central Magnet versus Harding and Discovery Magnet versus Park City Prep. That is still on as of now. The Director of Social Work and the Homeless Liaison will be attending the National Summit of Youth Homelessness to learn new ways to serve students in the Bridgeport Public School community. The Bridgeport High School Fair, which will be taking place at Sacred Heart University on the oops, I didn't put the date, on the 9th of March from 5:30 to 7:30. This is for our younger students in grade 7, 8, so that they'll know what we're offering for high school options. SEL Day is taking place across the city on March 10th. This is for all students and staff to engage in social emotional learning activities. On March 22nd, 2023 is the Q2 recognition ceremony at 6 p.m. taking place. And the PAC PTSO roundtable will be held on March 29th. This is separate from the one that we're doing next week. That one is a makeup session. And then the Lightning of Thief production is taking place March 17th at 6:30 p.m. and March 18th at 2 p.m. I wanted to give a special kudos to all of our science fair winners as well.
Thank you so much for your report. I'll open up the floor for questions, comments, or concerns for the superintendent. Mr. Sokolovic?
Yes, could you let us know, has the, not a reference to your report, it's a reference to the basketball games, has the police department sought your advice or any input, or do they just make this unilateral decision to keep our children out?
So at the beginning of the season, there was a meeting held with, there's a separate meeting, one for Caribe for the middle school sports, and there was one with high school principals in regards to some parameters they wanted to put in place in regards to that. And what the high school principal spoke about was making sure that it was a safe environment for everyone. So they asked, would it be okay for students to be able to attend with parents? I said, we talked to them about allowing that to do so as long as it was publicized to parents so that they were aware, so that they would have someone to be a part of that process. So this is the first that I've heard that anybody was locked out to that. So I have to look into that.
Okay, so you support the restriction, but just with informing the parents of that restriction?
Informing the parents of that restriction, making sure that that they're aware that they are there if students want to attend.
Right, so going forward, that would be your decision on how to best run basketball, not the police departments, and they'll just be
Correct.
carrying out your position.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Baptiste Perez? Any board members online?
Yeah, I have a question for Ms. Perry.
Mr. Benahan? He's walking in.
Ms. Perry, do we have any complaint or anything about special need, something? Yes, special need, like they're trying to specially sue us. You don't have nothing.
Mr. Benahan, do you have a microphone?
No, I don't have it. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. My question was if do we have any complaint of special need, like they're trying to sue board education, something like that, because that's what I heard. So I don't know if you know something about that. So I want to clarify with you.
Well, what I will say, there's a lot of things that are happening in special education. And there are some concerns in special education, but do we have any pending lawsuits that I'm aware of as of right now? No.
Okay. Yes, I just want to let you know so you can maybe, just in case somebody comes to you, so you can, be ready, because we never know. The other thing I want to say, and this is going to be very, how I can say, very seriously, everything is seriously, but I see today in Hartford that the governor, mayor, and McDermott was doing a meeting with them. But I don't like what they say, and I'm going to defend it with anything. And I want to clearly send that message out very strong. Bridgeport Public School, we have people to translate any language. That's the reason we have a bilingual department. That's the reason Ms. Susa Ana Martin said in one of the committee that we have in the school people translate. I don't like when they say Bridgeport School, they don't care. Bridgeport School, they don't like to translate our any kind of language, Spanish or something like that. A mom from Cesar Batalla was complaining like a Cesar Batalla, they don't give information, they don't help her, nothing like that. That's not true. I'm going to send that message out. That's not true. Me as a Hispanic, I will help any parents until God told me to stop. Translate. If we don't have another language, I know we're going to find out. But I want to send this message out because I don't like people from, Hartford or the mayor or the state rep. They talk like they support and they say, oh, it's true. Make the Roy's telling the truth when it's not, Ms. Perry, when it's not board member, when it's not public, that information. And that make me very upset because I know we're not perfect. We're trying the best we can to help everyone. But say something is not true, I'm not agreeing with that, Ms. Perry, and everyone. Now, I know we have bilingual department in Central High School. And this is the reason we have this center there, that we help all these parents to, Spanish, any language. If it's Chinese, they can be another country. I don't care. I know we're going to help them. But send that message out that Bridgeport School is not helping to translate our parents. It's Perry and board member that made me very upset. And I really write something in that Facebook Live, and I can share with you because that's not true. So I call all parents, Hispanic or any kind of language, they need help to translate anything, documents or anything, a meeting, something like that. They can call me. I'm always 24/7, everybody know, or they can call to your office, or they can call the bilingual department with Susan, Ms. Susan Martin. And I know she's very professional, and she say it very clear in one of the committee that we have people certified, professional, translate anything for our parents. And I'm going to share that video. I'm going to share that committee meeting we had because Ms. Susan said very clear because I asked her the question. So that very upset me. That's why I bring it to the table for the record because it's not fair. And whoever want me to translate whatever I say, you can call me and I will tell them in Spanish. I just wanted that little report, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ferry.
Thank you. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
I have a question. I may have just had a little bit of a brain fog. For the high school basketball game facility usage, did you say you're on board with the parental chaperones to the games?
Yes.
But what about when it had, like, at Hardin, it was their senior night. So if I was a senior at Hardin and I had a friend, one of my friends from Trumbull or Fairfield come and they're not 18 years old, they would just get turned away?
So if they were coming with a parent, everybody, what we're looking for is for children to be accompanied by an adult. So if it's not a parent, it should be somebody who's 18 or above to be able to be there, just in case there's some interest, with some accidents in regards to aggression, fighting. We want to make sure that kids are with adults.
But have we had, aside from the recent issue at Bassick High School, or the recent incident there, have there been any reasons or concerns? Because it just hasn't been brought to the board's attention that at the other high schools there would be reasons for that, that kind of policy, just because a lot of our students may not have a guardian. They may not have a guardian that's available to go with them. A parent may be incarcerated, or they may be in a group home setting, or they may be in a foster care system, where that may be a roadblock for them to attend somewhere safe and watch a game just to kill time.
So one of the things that I have shared with both the Bridgeport Police Department as well as Mr. Torres from Caribe, and the high school principals, because I had a meeting with them actually today in regards to security overall. Because one of the things that was happening is they keep talking to me about what's happening, but they're not reporting what those incidents are. So very similar to what you're saying, I said I need to be well informed as to what's going on. They told me about issues that took place previously, and this is why they wanted to work within these realms to have students accompanied by an adult. But as far as do I know of specific incidents, I don't have those in front of me yet. And that's what I talked about protocol, so I can make sure that I know what's going on, so I can make the best decisions. So that's the best way I can answer that as of right now.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Kashmir.
Thank you. Just one question, Ms. Parent, about the nurses and the mandatory physicals. Are you having success with like everybody turning their physicals in, or are there children who have not turned their physicals in, and then kind of what happens? What's the protocol for that when they're not turned in? I
So
guess it's a
there are several students who still have not turned physicals in. So what happens, we do a big push starting in December, sending out reminders. So the nurses in the individual schools contact the parents. They send phone calls, they send letters. Principals are asked to do that as well to try to make sure that students are getting those physicals so that they are prepared. One of the things that we also do is we accept appointment cards, even if it's after that April 1st deadline, that states that students, when they will be getting the physical, so that they will not be omitted from school. But it is an ongoing process. So everyone does not currently have the physical in grade 6 as of yet. It's just something that we're still working towards.
Do you usually get 100% of them by the deadline?
Well, this is my first year sitting in this seat, but if I speak from my past experience, no.
Okay, thank you. Just to the IT team, I'm gonna reboot my computer. My camera is, there's an issue with my camera. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
He said, okay. And before I go back again for Mr. Benahan, Mr. who?
Did you get my vote?
Mr. Lombard, do you have a question, concern for the report Ms. Perrin presented?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share mine and then I'll circle back to you. So I don't mean to beat the dead horse, but I was at the game on Friday and I was with, if it wasn't for me, students wouldn't have gotten into the game. And I think quite a few of them pulled me to the side and brought to the concern that their thing is parents, they don't have parents that can bring them. So could we look into something where we could support the students who, I don't know, 18 is one thing, because one of the young ladies that was with me was 18, but she didn't have her student ID, but she was obviously a Bridgeport Public School student, and they weren't allowing her into the game at all. But I definitely think there should be some type of fairness with the decision that's being made on how we can look into something that includes them, because there are students that rely on the games, but also do not have parental, support in that way. They may have relationship with coaches and things like that, but the coaches are obviously not going to go against whatever you set into play for them to be able to come, because a young man that and his friends were actually the students that were outside the door that couldn't even see him get his senior recognition. So my hopes is that whatever, as you continue the conversation and begin to get the information about whatever the program, Caribe and the student directors or athletic directors are providing, that we have something that we could provide for the students and made possibly an alternative, so they don't feel like they can't attend their own home games because they don't have, a parent to be there.
And just for clarity, we want an adult.
Oh, yes.
So an adult with them. So if it's a teacher, so you're an adult, if you're taking responsibility to bring those children in, that's fine and that's acceptable. We want to make sure that there's somebody there who's with them. Now, you brought up a good point when you talk about if they're already 18.
Yeah.
So that's something that we do have to discuss as well.
Thank you. And then just another thing too, I know that student IDs is a huge thing, so maybe that can also too, because I remember when I was in high school, you had to show your student ID in order to go into a game, but some students don't even carry their IDs, and I don't want, if this is going to be something that you're implementing, that students are aware that they need to bring their student ID to verify that they're a student, or a regular ID that says that they're 18 and above, so they can actually participate. That would just be my only point. Mr. Benahan, then Ms. Baptiste Perez. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
Is there a limit to how many people an 18-year-old can chaperone? Because if I'm 18 and I'm thinking outside the box, yeah, all 30 are with me. So it's
We
like,
haven't had that conversation.
yeah, so we need to kind of get that clarified.
Mr. Benahan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Perry, I would like to get information about, I know Ms. Susan Martin, they say in the committee, but I would like to get information about in the school, in what school we have people translating, certified, because I know Ms. Susan Martin, she say we have, but I would like to know what school we have people who translate. Second is that I already sent the information, but I'm going to say for the record, the PTSO impact money is for the educated parents, not for your staff using for the school. And, I already sent you the information, I email you. So please, I know you would tell them, but they need to stop because I don't like when, get me upset when the PAC or PTSO or leaders, they call me or they email me, they show me the proof. Because when they told me that, I said, show me the fact. And they do it, and I will send it to you. Why the schools, the administrators, that using the money from the PAC and PTSO? And that is for help the parents, to educate the parents, and whatever we need to buy for the parents. They need to stop that. So please, I would appreciate that. You let them know again. And the information I told you about the translate, I would like to get information from you again, please.
So for translators, I'm going to answer that question for you now. So at any given point in time, if someone needs translation services, we have a contract with Linguistica. So what we do is we contact Linguistica and we set that up, and they do the translation, and it comes in any languages. So it's not a body that's in a building. It's a company that we reach out to, and they do it. Usually takes about 10 minutes for them to get someone to be able to translate. So it's not a body in the building, it's through the company. So that's across the district.
And we have it, for all schools.
Yes, it's across the district. So we
I
have
just want to be
licensed.
that your record, because I don't want to look like a Bridgeport school. We're not doing the job that we're supposed to be. We want to help the parents, and I'm not agree with that. I like to help everyone, but people said thing is not true. Don't go with me. So thank you, Madam Chair. No more questions, no more comments.
With that, thank you, Ms. Parent, for your report. We're going to move to old business. We have 3 items to transact under old business tonight. All of the information is in your portal. Also, too, Mr. Sokolovic, Ms. Parent provided you printed out outlines of the document as well. The first agenda item is the second read, discussion, and possible approval of the field trip policy 6201 and 6201A. I'm going to turn this to Mr. Sokolovic, sorry, everyone's name is all over the place tonight, to further discuss the changes that were made to this document. And also, yes, just go right ahead.
Yeah, before I begin, I'm going to have 2 motions. I'll make them separately. First motion is to waive reading in its entirety, policy 6201 and 6201A.
Moved by Mr. Banahan, second by Mr. Sokolovic. Is there any discussion on the first read? Second read, sorry. All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the second read has been waived. Continue.
Okay, next motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy number 6201 and regulation 6201A as amended, and it appears all the
Second.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. It appears all the amendments discussed were included. Everybody would like to take a moment to look through the changes to see if anything's missing, but I see nothing. I see everything that we asked for included.
Any questions, concerns to the changes? It's been properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Go ahead, Mr. Sokolovic.
Next item.
Oh, sorry. The next item is second read, discussion and possible approval of public comment policy, bylaw 9160. That's also on in your packet and also on the table as well.
Actually, it's meeting conduct. I would like to make a motion to waive the second read in its entirety and just focus on the changes in the document.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll give it to Ms. Baptiste Perez, second by Ms. Baptiste Perez. Any discussion? Please take a moment to look through it for discussion. The second read. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, second read has been waived. Continue, Mr. Sokolovic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve meeting conduct 9160 as amended in the previous first read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Banahan. Everyone, please read for discussion if there's any changes. These are reflected from last meeting, but please look over them quickly. Sorry, I don't mean to rush you guys, but look over.
Appears everything is there.
That's why we have the committee.
All right. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none. Motion carries. The next one is second read and discussion possible approval of bylaw policy 9010, role of board members.
Once again, I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading it in its entirety and just focus on the changes.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Benningham. Any questions on what's being waived? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the second read has been waived. Continue, Mr. Sokolovic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve roll of board members 9010 as amended at the last meeting. Because all changes were captured again.
It's been seconded by Mr. Benningham. Are there any discussion, questions for this particular agenda item?
I just have a comment.
Yep, go ahead.
I think to the extent in which our staff, whether it's in facilities or in the building, feel that they're being harassed or threatened by a board member, that they go through the appropriate legal channels to get that person out. And it should be reported to the superintendent as well as the full board, because the board can take action against inappropriate board conduct. And that can include privileges as serving on committees. And so if you're not on a committee but want to go look at the facilities, that doesn't seem to make very much sense. And that should address the comments that came through from public comment. Yeah, to the extent that board members do act rogue or act inappropriate, and schools are empowered to protect our students and take the appropriate measures. So if you want to get arrested and escorted off the building as a board member because you've acted out of scope of power, then I think that should be very clear that that will happen. If you want to lose your privileges as a board member with your rights, then that is also a possible consequence. I don't agree to the asking of consent. It should be coordinated with like a logical reason as to why a board member is visiting a building, and it shouldn't be for kicks and giggles. So that's just my one comment.
All right, Mr. Sokolovic.
Yeah, I do have a comment. One of the public speakers brought up a very important point. At first, I was like, wait, that's not true. But then on further thought, it is true. In 2017, I did contact the science director because I was asked to cut the position. And being allowed to do so and contact the science director, along with, I believe, the mathematics director and a couple other directors, I was able to successfully advocate to keep their jobs in the district. And it's so very important to be able to do that, to have the information to make your decisions. Because if I wasn't able to talk to the science and math director, the superintendent and finance person's decisions would have stuck. We would have no way to counter that, and the board would be usurped by, I guess, by the superintendent and the finance person. So they were able to successfully explain their jobs to me as such, where I was able to successfully advocate to keep those positions. And I believe that was a good thing.
Okay. Are there any other? Okay, Mr. Benningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Ms. Batista said, but I want to be sure for the record, and I always say this, and I don't get tired to say it, that our staff, our amazing staff, they have to understand that we as a board member, we want the best for them, and we respect everything they do, and we're not here to get scared. We don't want that. We are not monster. We are not monster. We are not monster. Let me repeat it 3 times. We're here to work together as a team. Listen to them, help them, Ms. Perry know. I myself, when I visit the school, Packer PTSO, I email her and let her know. And that's what we're here for. I wanted, they can understand and break that connection. Before, past, they have that situation, bad, negative stuff. But that's why they call the word past. Done. Finito. Adios. Sayonara. Let's work together as a team now. We fresh. We try to help. We are not perfect. And I always repeat that, and I'm going to keep it repeating. We are not perfect. We trying to work together as a team, because we working as a team together. It's a better successful for our children's. And that's what we're here for. We're not here to go back and forth, argument, you did. No. Okay, get credit or stuff like that. The board member don't want to work together, it's very simple. I can say resign and leave another one can and work together as a team. But I know as far we here and we here now present, we want to work together with the staff. Now want drama, we don't want the situation, and I know me and us as a board member, we know how far we can go. We know the protocol, we know the policy, and we respect that. But I want to get that message out and for the record. No more comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Lombard, Ms. Cashmere?
Yeah, I think, surrounding this discussion is a big 4-letter word that begins with F and ends in R and has EA in the middle. There's a lot of fear around this conversation. And from my perspective, that term, which is appropriate here, a rogue board member. If you have a rogue board member, they're going to go to the school regardless if they have permission from the superintendent. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. That's one thing, but it's trying to put restraints in place because of anomalies. But taking away those rogue board members, in general, it just makes sense that a board member should not be blocked by their superintendent to make a logical visit. Maybe it may seem sensitive. Maybe legally speaking, it shouldn't happen. That may be so. If it's an ongoing case and the visit is clear that it's going to infringe upon certain legal mores, then that would be coordinated and said we can't do it. Not because the superintendent isn't giving permission to the board member, but the law is not giving permission to the board member. So that's still having the superintendent make those coordinations. So I think we're moving past the trauma that was felt because of certain board members. During public comment, their names were mentioned. Well, not Mr. Sokolovic as much, but the names of some of them were mentioned. And I just think logically, this new read, the second read, makes so much more sense. The other just walks like a duck, talks like a duck. It's a duck. It just stands out that it's inappropriate that board members need to get the approval of the superintendent. So to me, this makes sense, and I do appreciate the sensitive concerns around it, but I feel like we should not make policy based on fear. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cashmere?
I just want to say I just don't know. I don't understand why someone wouldn't have something better to do with their lives than to harass teachers and administrators. I mean, these people have enough to deal with on a daily basis, from the kids to the parents to DCF to everything that our staff have to deal with. I just feel like with this particular board, it won't be a problem. But at the same time, it is important to set certain policies and boundaries in place. But I just want to make that comment. I just think that it's just sad, for somebody to just harass the people who are in charge of the most important, our most invaluable assets, our kids. That's just a comment I wanted to make. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. And I also too would like to echo Ms. Baptiste Perez's point, as well as the other board members. I do believe that as we are trying to gain momentum for respect across the board, but also to those that we work with within the district, that if a board member is doing that, then proper restrictions should be made towards that board member from the protocol that Ms. Perrin has set into place. And then also if that board member cannot properly act right, then their committees can be taken away from them and they will have to endure not being able to do whatever is needed on the board level because they can't respect the schools and the leadership of Ms. Perrin. But I do agree with Mr. Lombard's statement that we can't continue to stay stagnant in what was happening in the past. We're trying to move forward, and we have a job to do. And anyone that is sitting on this particular side of the meeting who can't do that job, then they need to decide what's best for them and realize that their own agenda is affecting our district. So I'll just say that. And Mr. Benahan?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ms. Brown. Thank you. I feel that whoever board member doesn't respect one of the staff and they go like, with that drama and not take care of the way it's supposed to be, they don't have a role model, because we represent Bridgeport School. Let's make a new policy. Okay? You resign, you done, you out. Because if we're gonna have somebody that don't respect our staff when they work so hard, you don't need to be here. You don't need to sitting down here. Our staff, go through a lot of things about Bridgeport School in the district. Plus, they have his personal life because we don't know how that staff going through with your personal life. It's not easy what our staff they doing, and we respect that. I take out my hat for them. But if they don't respect our staff, one of the board members going through attitude, we can't try to do. You resign, you out automatic. No, why she went. Oh no, you don't respect our staff. Bye bye. I would love to have that. And Ms. Perry, it's not the way we can try to do. I'm not talking now, but trying to plan how we can do as a board member, because I know years back they do board members visit the school, sit down with the principal, when we feel staff, we listen to them, I'm not saying do it right away tomorrow, but how we can do something that I want little by little, our administrator and staff, they understand that we visit the school, with the permission, the way it's supposed to be, the policy, the step by step, we can listen to them. I would love to listen, stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe we can try to do something like that, because I know years back they did it, but about the situation, they remove it because drama. But I don't want that. Like you saying, like Mr. Lombard said, let's pass, let's go present and future.
Well, actually, Ms. Castermere asked about that as well, and I told her that I was going to be speaking to Ms. Brown about what that would possibly look like, and then we will open it up to all board members if that's the case.
Thank you. No more comments, Chair. Thank you.
All right, so if there's no other discussion, it's been properly second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries.
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
one more matter of housekeeping, because we haven't done this in a while, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware that the policies that don't affect children, our bylaws take effect immediately. And the field trip policy, unless somebody wants to make a motion, takes effect next school year. If anybody wants to make that take effect now, you can make a motion to do so.
I second.
No,
No,
just
they have
asking.
to be-
Yeah.
The motion
Sorry.
hasn't been made, I just don't know them.
Sorry. I don't want the snow take us.
Does anyone want, we have quite a few field trips coming up, so I don't know what that's gonna look like. So we can leave it as is. Less no one? Okay.
No worries. And this also got to be updated on the portal, and especially the field trips policy needs to be disseminated to all the schools, and everybody who is affected by the policy needs to know that it has changed.
Okay. All
I
right.
just want to clarify, you're gauging whether to entertain to make the field trip policy effective immediately versus the start of the 23-24 school year?
Correct. That's only for the field trip policy.
That's only for the overnight. Yeah, I'll make a motion to I lost a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to, 1 second.
Motion to implement.
Motion to make policy 6201 and regulation 6201A effective immediately.
A second.
Any questions, concerns?
Yes, I just want to have discussion around this,
Yep, go ahead.
just to understand the reason why it was in place that they would not take effect until the next year, first of all, and then why we think we should waive that. Just, I don't have the history, so I don't know if anyone does.
Right. The reason most of it is because if we make a policy that's going to have significant change and take work to be done and like have an adjustment period or something like that, but this doesn't look like that. So I think it's.
You mentioned something about kids. If it affects the kids, it's different.
Right, yeah. If it affects the children, it's different because there may have to be things that staff and the superintendent have to do to prepare for the implementation of the new policy. But I don't think there's any really preparation that needs to do, because most of it's just around the approval process.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will streamline it and make staff's lives a little easier. And unless the superintendent sees something that should stop that I haven't thought of, maybe she should raise that now.
No, really, the changes were being made to the approval process, which was hindering some of the students to be able to go and be exposed to different things. So I think that it would be a good idea to be able to move forward, to make this effective immediately, to be able to stop that process from happening in the future.
And then if we vote to waive that, or whatever the term is that we're doing, this would be for requests starting tomorrow, or would be any that are in place already?
So these would be for future requests.
Future requests. So some that are that were already didn't meet the deadline, and the trip was supposed to be in a couple of weeks or whatever it is, they wouldn't be considered. It would be for future ones. Okay. Is that correct?
Well, they could be considered if they moved forward. So what I'm saying is that if they were trips that, say, for instance, the principal or teacher decided not to move forward on based upon the timeline, now they have the availability to be able to do so. So
Okay.
moving forward, we won't be going back to look at old trips that are in the past, of course, but anything that have future dates, it will be applicable towards.
All right, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
All right, any other items, any other discussion for this?
I just have a comment. I think a lot of our schools have already put thought into it. Are they presenting today? I know during my last teaching and learning committee meeting, there's, I forgot which school. It's not BMA, but one of the schools that did attend in person, they had put a lot of thought, they were going to Boston, to the trip, not only tying it to an educational purpose, but also to a social emotional aspect to it. And that's also just another component to this change, is like not only for our students to grow academically, but as a social and conscious human being and individual in society. So I think I'm looking at a different particular part of the section, but I think it's good to have that applied as well.
All right, I hear no other discussion. Now we're gonna move it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, so this will make the trips moving forward a part of the new policy. All right, so moving to new business. The first agenda item is review and possible approval on entering to a contract for social work services provided by GBAP. This is also in your packets, and this was discussed at our contracts meeting. So I believe we may have staff online to just talk briefly about it, but it's also in your agendas as well. So, Ms. Clark?
Yes, good evening, everyone. We have two items on the agenda tonight. The GBAP is actually called Greater Bridgeport Area Prevention Program, Inc. We have two grants from the state. They happen to be from ARP ESSER monies. The state reissued the supports for parenting, pregnant and parenting teens. We got a $400,000 award. And in that program, we pledged to work with GBAP so that they can help us deliver the mandatory portion of the grant that had to work with teen fathers. Our social work department does a wonderful job. Ms. Perrin mentioned that they're going to a conference to get some more information about treating not just the homeless, but our parenting and pregnant teens as well. And so this is an important part of that grant, and we are proposing to give GBAP $30,000 to support that initiative.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. I will open up the floor for any comments, questions from the board. Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Clark, that's gonna be for all the high schools?
Yes, this program is open for all of the high schools. It's for all pregnant or parenting teens.
Okay, thank you. No more question, Madam Chair.
Ms. Baptiste Perez?
I just have a question. I was going to look it up online, but might as well just ask. Who's the executive director for GBAP and where are they located?
Nancy Kingwood, I believe.
Yep, you're correct.
And I can give you their address if you give me 2 moments.
I know they're on Barnum Avenue, but I don't know the number.
Yeah, I believe they're downtown. But it is Miss Kingwood. They are at 1470 Barnum Avenue, Suite 301.
Thank you.
Ms. Cashmere, Mr. Lombard, any questions?
Yes, one question. While you're performing social work, does any of that social work include child development information about the growth of the children?
Yes, under the district's portion of the grant, yes, it is going to be working on expansion of all of the services to the pregnant and parenting teens. And this, what we're asking for tonight is specifically related to the work that GBAP will provide to the teen fathers. So providing them specifically with additional information about how to work with the mothers and with the children, providing additional services to them. GBAP is offering a 12-week scheduling program where they're going to be on site at the high schools. So they're really working hard on delivering those services just specifically to the males involved in the situation.
Okay, and for those fathers, what model are you using for the child development information? Is it parents as teachers, something else?
I believe that I'm looking through, and please, I'm just the contracts person. It's not my subject matter expertise. I know that we traditionally do pay for parenting program, but I'm not seeing it in the statement of work from GBAP. We could certainly follow up and ask if they're going to be using that model.
Yeah, if you would just follow up and send me just a brief email letting me know what the model is. I'm very interested in knowing. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Mr. Lombard?
No comments, thank you. No questions.
Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Clark, I know you say it's going to be for the high schools. Who's going to be in charge when you say given, each high school, and whoever's in charge in that high school with that program, who's going to report everything what's going on in that high school? It's going to be you, or you're going to have somebody go make that report?
So yes, this program is being managed by the social work department. So Mr. Young will work with getting the information from the assigned social worker to get all of the information that's required for the program and to report out as necessary.
Okay.
And I did answer your question and said high school, but of course we do have situations where there are kids in some of our other schools, so that the program is open district-wide to any of the students that might find themselves in these situations.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Clark. No more questions, Madam Chair.
All right. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, you could bring up.
Go ahead, Ms. Baptiste Perez.
I was just curious, do you know how much has been spent on this program already? I'm going to just refer to it as a program because it says it's retroactive pretty much as of February 1st, 2023. So,
Oh, no. Go ahead.
but you can, if no, we don't know how much has been spent so far. Has GBAP been active in our schools and in our, and I'm going to say schools at large because it, like mentioned earlier, it could apply to middle school students.
Yes, so no monies have been spent on this program to GBAP. We've been waiting approval. We did go through contracts committee, I believe it was the end of January, but we're waiting for this contract to be approved. If you do so tonight, and then we will extend the fully executed contract to GBAP so they could start executing those services. On the district side, yes, we have been spending our funds because they were received.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no further questions, would someone like to make this motion?
I'll make a motion to approve entering into a contract for social work services provided. I don't like the way this is phrased. I'm going to make a motion to approve the GBAP contract as presented for social work services. And this is supposed, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop with my motion. This is supposed to help teenage fathers, correct?
The subcontract specifically is to help teenage fathers. The program is actually called Supports for Pregnant and Parenting Teens, and it's ARB ESSER funded. I don't know if you have to read that into your motion as well.
Okay, no, that helps clarify what the SPPT stands for.
Yes.
Because it was just given in the abbreviated form. So I'll make a motion for the contract for social work services provided by the SPPT part of GBAP.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Banahan. All in favor?
Aye.
Second, needs to be.
Oh, second, sorry.
I made the motion. It was second by Mr. Banahan.
Motion second by Mr. Banahan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. The next item is review and possible approval on entering to a contract for social work services provided by GBAP for homeless population students. Ms. Clark?
Thank you. And so this program also happens to be ARB ESSER funded. It's for the Homeless Children and Youth Program, which the district received $302,914. It was mandatory that we have a CBO, which is a community-based organization, work with us. And that happened to be GBAP based on the services that they could provide when we were putting together our proposal. In this case, GBAP happens to have a van that will be able to transport homeless students. They will be able to help them with getting any of those ancillary services that the district, does endeavor to provide. But this is, keeping with that, wraparound services for them. So if they, for some reason, need access to food, they need access to transportation, they need access to, specific items that GBAP really already has in their program, and that the district will, during the day be able to help those students, but after hours, GBAP will be able to provide those additional services to them. I believe that when we applied for this, the state was really happy to see, the model that we were putting together. And we're asking for you tonight to approve this $100,000 award for GBAP to provide these services.
Right. Open up the floor for discussion. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
On the committee level, did you receive a GBAP flyer that goes through all the services that they provide? Because we only get the contract.
No, I didn't get a pamphlet of it.
So the statement of work for the for both programs should be in the contract. My pullout says it's page 25 for the homeless program. I can try to pull that up now if you would like me to. But if you would like us to get a flyer from GBAP, we could certainly do that. We, again, have been waiting for the approval of this contract, so they have not been advertising or anything like that yet. Of course, GBAP does provide these services generally, but we don't have something specific to Bridgeport Public Schools, quote unquote, these are your services until we have a fully executed contract.
I understand. Did you say you were referring to their statement of work?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll yield my time in case any other board member has a question or comment.
Anyone else? Ms. Cashmere, Mr. Lombard?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
No questions, no comments.
Okay. Ms. Cashmere?
Yeah, so just a hypothetical question. So if there is a homeless child that is going through some type of mental meltdown, does GBAP go out even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, or would that be kind of like more like a mobile crisis 211 type of situation? Just curious.
I am definitely not the subject matter expert to answer that question. I could certainly refer to the social work department. I don't know if that's what they would do. I would imagine that you should call 911 and get immediate services. And then there would be a triage process, but social work definitely should be able to give you a more solid answer. And I could certainly provide that in the follow-up that I do owe you already, Ms. Cashmere.
Yeah, just asking if you guys are involved in that triage process. So not necessarily so then, right?
I believe there is a triage. I just don't know if in the middle of the night what it looks like, but we'll get that information
Gotcha.
to you.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Baptiste Perez?
I have a question. Was a statement of work only provided for the SPPT program, or did you provide it for the?
Oh, no, there was a statement of work for both items. So on my copy.
I think it's page 25 on their copy. It says 25.
Yes. Let me keep scrolling. Yes, in the homeless contract, it's on page 25.
Yeah, it's on page 110 of the whole entire
packet.
Oh, excuse me. I'm looking at my version that I provided.
Yes,
So I'm beaming. This is the statement of work within that contract. I have two separate documents. I was not aware of how your packet came over. And SPPT, I believe that was page 26 in my separate copy as well. Ms. Baptiste Perez, would you like me to send you a copy of this document?
No, if you could just scroll down to the program description.
Yes. Move this out of the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further items for discussion? Anyone else? Questions, concerns? Yes, Mr. Banahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Clark, I'm going back what Ms. Akisha say about, you say if it's not emergency, they can call 911, but they, let's say in the middle of the night, they can call 211 and they go through the program.
I will have to get more information. I don't know what the triage process is.
Okay.
This is not my bailiwick. I will certainly get the information to provide.
It will good, yeah, please, if you can get us the information, because and then the parent, they can know. Some parents, sometimes they are afraid to call 911 because, you know, when you call 911, it feel like the whole city's coming to the house.
Right,
And parents
right.
get scared a little bit. So when you call, maybe you had 211, maybe we have somebody that can help right away, the parents, you know, and maybe from 211, they can say, listen, we had to call 911. You know, I just want to curious. If you can get information with that, we appreciate that, please.
Yes, I will certainly liaise with the
Thank you, Ms.
social work
Clark.
department.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. No more question, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So hearing none, seeing none, would someone like to make this motion? Oh, Ms. Keisha? Does she have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, just, it's gonna be very quick. So, I want to read over it says provides case management, housing navigation services through our vehicle for change van. Can you just give me a little bit more information about what that looks like? Housing
I could
navigation
certainly
services?
get that information from the social work department.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I am the contract person. The subject matter experts really are our social work team.
Yeah, maybe it would have been a good idea to have somebody here that could help
Yes.
get into it, but okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Sokolovic?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to enter into a contract with GPAP for social work services provided for the homeless.
So move.
Moved by
Second.
moved by Mr. Binahan, second by Mr. Lombard. All in
Move.
favor?
Moved by Mr. Sokolovic.
Aye.
Oh, Lord, I'm sorry, guys. All in favor? I'm gonna do it again. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Ms. Kashmir abstains.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. The next agenda item is discussion and possible action on the final selection of superintendent search firm. I believe Mr. Pyrus is online. Is Ms. Pyrus online?
I don't see him.
I don't think we need to.
Yeah. Huh? So we're gonna see. I mean, everyone has information, but I didn't know if you wanted to remember. Okay. If we want, go ahead, Mr. Lombard.
Yeah, I mean, can we just share that, you know, the results of our scoring pointed to one firm and
yes,
with further inquiry into that firm, basically negotiation of pricing was brought down by about 25%. And so that's where we were. And so I think if we share that, we could talk about deciding on which one we want.
Correct. So what we can do, is he here? Okay. Okay. Mr. Pyrus, you have the floor to talk about the superintendent search firm. And if you could just give a little idea of what the process looked like so that the public is aware of how it went down.
Okay, so we issued an RFP for a search firm, and we had 4 respondents. We had the committee review all of the respondents, and they scored them, and we came up with a final score of Pearson and Jacobson as being the winner of the selection. And now it's before you to approve it. The next steps will be, we will notify the firm. And once the firm is notified, we will seek approval from the purchasing board of the city's purchasing department. Once that's gathered, or while that's being gathered, we will enter into a negotiation of an agreement, operating agreement with the firm. And the board will determine and explain to the search firm the process that they want to undertake. I believe that Ms. Brown has had some conversations with the firm in regards to the process that they prefer to have the search firm conduct the search.
Correct. Is there anything else, Mr. Pyrus?
No, that's basically it. And then once that's in place, it'll come before the contracts committee one more time to approve the contract. And the full board will, well, the search committee is the full board. So it'll just be executed and the search will begin.
All right. At this moment, we're going to open up the floor for discussion on this agenda item, starting with, I'll just go down the line. Mr. Benahan.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Paris, how long they will take the company to answer you back? Do they have a limit or something like that, or they will tell you right away when you send the documents?
No, they will respond right away. We're just waiting for the vote tonight. Once the vote takes place tonight, I will issue a letter of acceptance to the firm, and then the negotiations will begin immediately with the attorneys to get the contract drawn up, and then it'll be before you to review it. So it should move rather quickly.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Perry. No more questions, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sokolovic. Put your mic on.
Yeah, just one question when we get to it. How should the motion be phrased?
Should be discussion and approval of the selection of the name of the firm.
Okay, that's it. All right, thank you.
Ms. Baptiste Perez.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Ms. Cashmere.
No questions. I'm anxious to see how this all plays out. No questions.
All right. Mr. Lombard.
No, I would just like to share that this was a very orderly process. We were fortunate to receive multiple, as Mr. Pyrus said, 4 proposals, 4 responses. And, we independently scored them, without even communicating with one another. And the firm that we're leaning toward tonight is one that outshined clearly our had the highest scores. And I will share that, as I mentioned earlier, maybe prematurely, pricing was taken into consideration as well. And it all seemed to come together very, very well. So I'd like to share that with the public. Thank you.
And I guess I'll just add my little 2 cents. I wanted to thank our executive team, especially, Mr. Lombard, for actually, as we gathered the questions from the board, talking to the firm so that we'd be able to properly communicate the questions that the board brought up. But other than that, I have no other concerns or comments. So I will open it up for someone to make the motion.
I make a motion to enter into the contract with the search firm McPherson and Jacobson to find our next superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
He made the motion, so it should have been second by Mr. Benahan.
All right. Motion, second by Mr. Benahan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We selected a search firm.
Very good. I'll send the letter out tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pyrus.
You're very welcome. Have a good night.
Good night. The next agenda item is discussion and possible approval of Bridgeport Military Academy field trip to Passaic High School in New Jersey for March 25th, 2023. This actually came out of Ms. Baptiste Perez committee, so I don't know if you want to say anything about this trip.
Quick overview. It's in compliance with our policy before what was approved today going into effect. Do we have a representative from either here?
Yes, Lieutenant Commander Brewster is online.
Yeah, I mean, I will share this one little tidbit is last year our students went and won, so they're going back to reclaim their crown. So I will say that's one bit of Bridgeport pride, but I won't take too much of your thunder. You can present.
Okay.
So this is Lieutenant Commander Brewster. I'm the senior naval science instructor. I also help coach the color guard, and we are going to take our color guard drill team, athletic team, and our academic team to Passaic, New Jersey, pending approval. And we won first place with our freshman color guard last year. So we'd like to have that same team go back and try to win the senior one. We have a brand new crop of freshmen who are really good, and our drill team is much better than it was last year. So I anticipate being close competition. So it is only before the board because it is out of state. It is not that far. It's only about 2 hours away. So it's up and back in the same day. And we had already gotten approval from the deputy superintendent. So it's just, it has to go to the board because of the previous rules that you changed today. Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Board members, are there any questions concerning this field trip?
I just want to comment that I think that this is awesome, and I wish that I can go with you. That's all. Thank you about it.
You are welcome to come, ma'am.
Okay. All right, with that being said, would someone like to make this motion?
Motion to approve Bridgeport Military Academy field trip to Passaic High School in Passaic, New Jersey on March 25th, 2023. I just finished it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because
All right. Is there a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. I need this questions, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. We hope you guys have a safe trip. I know we got a little while before it comes, but I'm excited that you guys get to go. The next agenda item is discussion and possible action to approve John Winthrop School Field Trip and Marin School Field Trip to Nature's Classroom, April 2023. Is there a representative? And I know this came out of your committee, but I don't know if you want to say anything.
Just quick thing. It's going to be presented together because it's during the same time. It's from April 3rd to April 5th, 2023, and the schools will be sharing a bus.
Okay. A representative?
Hi, yes. Laura Duran, I'm speaking on behalf of Pam Musante and myself. I'm from Marin. So we are taking this trip with our group of 4th and 5th grade tag students. And the purpose of the trip is for students to learn about different bodies of water within the Nature's Classroom, as well as natural habitats and wildlife that are native to the state of Connecticut. This is going to help students gather a better understanding of our native animals, plants, and resources. And this will help them, they will use this information, to help them in the pollinating garden that is going to be created at both Winthrop and Marin. Pam, did you have anything that you wanted to add that I might have missed?
No, just that we have the safety protocols that the students must test for COVID prior to getting on to the day before getting on the field trip, and that they all have to fill out a health packet also from Nature's Classroom, which discusses any medications or anything. They have a nurse on staff. So it's quite safe. And that's all.
Thank you both. Does someone would like to make a motion for this agenda item?
Yes,
Open it up for questions or
sorry.
discussion?
Open up for discussion and then we'll move forward.
Very quickly, I am happy about Nature's Classroom. I think that this is a really great trip, mainly because Nature's Classroom works on all 4 stages of the child's development: language, social, emotional, cognitive, and motor. So I just wanted to say that I think it's great, and good luck and be safe.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Mr. Benahan?
Question, Ms. Pamela, you are a teacher from a Marin school or Weber Cross?
From John Winthrop.
John Winthrop, okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? All right. Would someone like to make this motion?
Yes, make a motion to approve Winthrop School field trip and Marin School field trip to Nature's Classroom, April 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baptiste Perez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Hearing none, you guys have a trip approved. Please be safe, and we look forward to hearing all the great things about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. The next one is discussion and possible action regarding a memorandum of agreement for math endorsement to increase Bridgeport Public Schools certified teaching pool. Is there a representative for this agenda item? And this also came out of your committee, Ms. Baptiste Perez. So I don't know if you want to say anything about it.
Ms. Ultra-Dixon should be online to discuss.
Yep, she's right behind you.
I am online.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry, are we doing math or science? Which
Math.
one? Okay, so as you all know, math and science are some of our shortage areas. And as part of our plan to fill these vacancies, we have created an opportunity for veteran teachers to get cross-endorsed. We sent out a feeler email, and we have approximately 10 senior or veteran teachers interested in obtaining this cross-endorsement. Part of the process would be that they will engage in some type of training and program that will help them prepare to take the praxis exam. In order for someone who currently holds a certification to get cross-endorsed for math or science, one option is to take the praxis exam and pass it. So I know that Mr. Planis, Executive Director Herminio Planis, has met with a group of the teachers who are interested in this. In addition, as part of the incentive to obtain the cross endorsement, we have offered monetary incentives in that one, we will, for those who are successful in passing the praxis, they will have a 2-step increase in their salary as long as they maintain employment in the math sector.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion on this item?
Yes, I would just like to add on to what Ms. Ultra-Dixon was saying. As far as the employment, it's a three-year minimum. Is that correct?
Correct. And any costs incurred by the district will be offset for each year that they abide by, that they maintain employment in that area.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Baptiste Perez.
I have a question. Entertain my hypothetical. We have a teacher that goes through this for the math certification, and they're in a school for one school year teaching math, but for whatever reason, the following school year, they're not teaching math in that building. And maybe this would be a good problem to think of, right? Don't look at me like that. Because we should have good problems. If for some reason in a particular school year, there is no math vacancy, will they keep their step up in that pay? Like if that was not an issue in the district?
If they are not teaching math at no fault of their own, then yes, they will maintain their pay increase. However, if they opt or take action themselves to no longer teach in that area, then they will not maintain that step increase.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, hearing none.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I
Mr.
just want
Lombard.
a follow-up on from the committee when the committee chair asked about what would be a situation if another teacher who who was not part of the original 10. Remember that? We were talking about if someone
Yes.
came along with this opportunity to be available to them. Was there any follow-up on that?
No more than me thinking about it. If math and science is they're two of our major shortage areas. I am not going to turn away someone unless they are in another shortage area, such as the arts or special ed. If we have a need, we will figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
One more time, are there any further questions? All right, hearing none, would someone like to make this motion?
Motion to approve the memorandum of agreement for a math endorsement to increase Bridgeport Public Schools certified teaching pool.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sokolovic. All in favor?
Any further questions or
Oh,
comments?
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. The next agenda item is discussion and possible action regarding the memorandum of agreement for science endorsement to increase the certified teaching pool. This is also you too, Ms. Dixon.
Yes, so along the same lines, again, we sent out emails to our veteran staff inquiring of anyone who would be interested in obtaining an endorsement in science. Once again, we had at least 10 teachers who are interested in obtaining the cross endorsement for science. So it is the same basic process and procedure. The science department has created a program to help assist the teachers in getting ready to teach science and pass the praxis exam.
Thank you. Are there any questions, discussions on this item?
Yeah, question.
Yep, go ahead, Ms. Kashmir.
Okay, so just so I understand this, when a teacher is doing a cross endorsement for science, let's say, does that mean that they don't have any experience teaching science at all and you're like giving them an opportunity to learn to teach science? I mean, just so you could break it down for me.
Yes and no. Preferably, or a lot of people who are seeking the cross endorsement either have a passion or have had experience in teaching these topic areas. We are working not only to help them prepare for the praxis exam itself, but also to help maybe catch them up with current techniques or topics in that area. So I don't, off the top of my head, I don't recall if each person seeking for the cross endorsement had prior experience or course experience in these specific areas, but I know that they were specifically interested in either science or math.
Thank you.
Ms. Castro, also, most of the applicants who are looking to be cross-endorsed are K-6 elementary, so they may not have taught it in a 7 to 12 realm, which is what we're seeking out, but they might have had some experience teaching science at the elementary level.
No. So some of them are already perhaps ELA, or we actually have one teacher who is already certified in science but wants to be cross-certified in physics. So we had actually called them unicorns in that they're rare, but he was more of a Pegasus, in that someone who wants to actually teach physics is even more rare than someone who wants to teach science. So it depends. It's not just our elementary teachers who are interested in this cross endorsement.
So, Ms. Alcindix, let me ask this question. So that means that we're creating other gaps in science.
That he was an exception. So when we consider the applicants, we are not going to rob from the rich to give to the poor. We wanted to focus on areas that are easier to fill. So we focused a lot And when we advertised for this, we wanted people who currently hold certifications in the areas that are most popular: elementary, ELA. I think those were the main ones that were the more popular ones. This person happened to be interested specifically in physics, which is not an easy area to find someone.
I have a question. Out of the 10 candidates for the science program, that's including Pegasus?
I think so. I averaged it to be about 10. There might be like 12 or so, but yes, Pegasus is included in my 10-person head count.
And are there any other candidates within the 10 or of the 9 remaining that are already science teachers that want to teach it more specified? So if someone wants to teach chemistry?
I do not believe so. We actually toyed with the idea of not allowing the science certification holder to be considered, but when we spoke to him, he had indicated that yes, he's interested in science. He already holds the science certification, but he wants to teach physics.
So, I mean, that's fine, but if we had another unicorn that, unicorn is teaching science. So if we had another horse that wanted to teach science, I'm going to try and stay along the analogy, right? We had another teacher that was interested in teaching science. We can increase the number from 10 to 11?
Again, yes.
Okay.
I would because I believe we have more than 10 current vacancies. As I indicated in your committee meeting, we have approximately at least 10 vacancies right now for both science, definitely science, and math is probably between 7 to 10. As we go through the year and more people are contemplating retirement or going to a different district, I foresee that number increasing.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Lombard.
for clarification for a layperson here, what is the difference between science and physics? You know, is there a different certification to teach high school science and high school physics?
So when we talk about science, we have general science, physical science, then we have biology, chemistry, physics. Physics is probably the least popular field. I have to think for a moment. Physical science, if you have certain certifications, I believe if you have chemistry, you can teach physical science and general science. If you have biology, you could teach general science, but not physical science. So there are different science degree certifications. So not only do we have the general certification, the physical certification, but then you have those who teach specifically biology, chemistry, and physics.
So there was a need for a physics teacher? Is that one of the vacancies?
I don't know if it's necessarily a vacancy, but I do know that it's hard to offer physics because there are not as many teachers willing or able to teach physics.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Perry? So, Ms. Altradixon, just for clarity, you stated that you were looking to have teachers from the ELA realm or elementary. Just for my knowledge, where are these teachers coming from if they're not coming from elementary to be cross-endorsed for science?
Off the top of my head, I believe most of them were elementary. We might have the occasional social studies or ELA for the middle school grades. I don't know the specific details to each candidate. Unfortunately, I reviewed the list about a month or so ago, and when we were deciding or weeding out possible candidates, We did, again, we looked at what they were currently teaching, what school they were currently teaching at, and we tried to focus on those who were in the more popular areas, such as elementary. And ELA, again, is another area or subject that is easier to fill than other subjects.
Okay, I just wanted clarity because I know when I had said that before, you had said no. So I just wanted to make sure that I had understood you correctly.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Lombard.
the other thing I want to bring up again that came up in committee, and this kind of, I think, is where Ms. Casimir's question was coming from. This is something that the state's allowing because of the need, because of the shortage. And one of the ways, as you mentioned, is by passing the praxis subject area exam. So this is all above board, and we're just taking advantage, taking the opportunity to use this. But I asked you during the committee meeting, especially for science, but also for math, absolutely, what, if any, additional supports would be made available to these teachers who may not have had experience teaching, especially at the middle school level, science or math? Is it anything additional to what's already being offered to the science and math teachers for these people, or is that not thought about yet? I know you did answer that a little bit. I'd just like to have that be brought up to the table again tonight.
Right, so I did bring up your question while I was at a DEI training today. Portia Scott, who's the Assistant Director of Science, as well as Michael Brosnan, Stephen Correa, who are who work with HR, training the new attorneys and deal with a lot of the partnerships. We briefly discussed what you mentioned about ongoing PD. And we recognize that it is essential to the success of these candidates and then in return of our students. So we were talking about ongoing PD. We want to ensure that there is some type of support and ongoing PD for any of the cross endorsements or that we are pursuing this year. We learned, we recently last year we did a cross endorsement for special education. That was our first real attempt or project at cross endorsements, where we took the veteran teachers and they worked towards getting cross endorsed in special ed. And we're learning from that. We're learning that we need to make sure that there's ongoing PD. So the short answer is yes, we are definitely trying to develop ongoing PD and support for these teachers who are making the jump into a new area.
Just real quick, I see Mr. Scott is online. He did ask if he wanted to share his screen to show what the outline looked like for those that are going through PD. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that, and I believe Ms. Perrin has more to say on this item as well.
Hi, it's actually Portia Scott-Cham, just so you know.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. All right. Can you see this?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Can I chime in as well? Sorry,
Sure,
Portia, I don't mean to
Mr.
cut you off. Just want to, again, thank Portia for all the work she's done with this. We've got, I know the first date on the top is tomorrow, so we're not going to do that pending the approval that hasn't happened yet and the notification and the snow. So, but I'll turn it over to her. We've put a lot of thought into this and how the best way to onboard our current teachers, just to really widen the breadth of teachers that we have in Bridgeport Public Schools to help with science. The other piece I wanted to mention regarding the endorsements, the state does have an 034, which is a general science endorsement for 7-12, and a 234, which is a general science for middle school for 4 to 8. So we're hoping to prepare teachers for those praxis exams and then get them generally certified in science for the possibility of their use for year to year. As a building administrator, it can be very useful to have those teachers in various certification areas. But again, don't mean to cut you off, Portia. I'll turn it back to you to share some of the details of our program. And again, appreciate the support of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. I just wanted to make sure that you see what it is that we actually outline for each session. So you can see where the location is. 2 of these will be done virtually. And again, we're going to have to change the date. But you can see that, like for the first session, Mrs. Alto Dixon made reference to it, they vetted a lot of the candidates. So, we want to make sure that those candidates who want to be a part of this cross endorsement are really clear about what they're walking into, because middle school is not elementary and it is not high school. It's like a totally different arena in terms of where our kids are cognitively, where they are physically, and where they are in understanding themselves. So our first introduction with the candidates would be to what would they expect to see within the science classroom for middle school, and to touch upon what they need to focus on for the practice preparation. The second practice prep session would be done virtually. So we would focus on, like, I have a suggestion here that study.com, they have a 92% success rate with the praxis. So that would be something that we would encourage them to look at on their own, but also looking at the curriculum that the science department has, and provide them some concrete examples of what it is that they're going to be asked when they take that test. And then each session goes into the curriculum and pedagogy, which is directly aligned to what they will expect to be able to do in the classroom with these middle school students, specifically like the next generation science standards. What are those practices that they're expected to do with the students, and understanding that they're at a tactile level. So you would be expected to be doing a lot of hands-on experiments with the kids. And what are the key ideas that they want to make sure that their students walk away with? So as you can see, and we have, Daria Collins, who is one of our science teachers. So we're trying to also get veteran teachers. So we're trying to build capacity that exists within the district, because you have a lot of really good middle school science teachers that we're trying to help to actually perform the professional development. But as you can see here, each session has a theme, and we unpack that for those 2 hours. But we also are looking at for next year. So we don't just give them these 6 sessions and then, okay, you're out on your own. Next year, they will also be provided with support. And we start a new curriculum like in another year. So they'll be learning beside their peers. And we always try to encourage collaboration. Are there any questions?
Any further questions? Ms. Perrin has statements, so go ahead and start.
Mr. Lombard, you had asked about support, and I think Ms. Scott Chom did a great job of explaining about professional development. But aside from professional development, one of the things that we need to focus on as a district is providing a space for teachers, new and old, to be able to just discuss the things that are at the forefront of their minds. So we will be engaging in the process of creating affinity groups for different groups in the city to be able to sit down and just talk and share with each other their experiences, which will help build community around common like problems. So I think that's extremely important as well. PD is phenomenal. It helps, inform our decisions, but just having a place and a person to be able to talk to about some commonalities will help support our staff as well.
Thank you. So just to finish up my questions on this area, I know we've already voted and approved for the math endorsement, cross endorsement, but just have to ask, is there anything like this well thought out, planned PD or what have you for the math side as well? Oh, there's Mr. Planis. So, I mean, I know we already voted on it, but I'm wondering if it exists, it's the same, so.
You're on mute, Mr. Planis.
He's not on mute, but we can't hear him.
Oh.
Nope, there's no sound.
No sound. Nope.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
seeing as he's having technical difficulties, would it be possible for him to get that information to Mr. Lombard?
You're muted, Mr. Lombard. You're muted, Mr. Lombard.
Oh, yeah, look at that. So you could just answer in the chat and then just send it in an email.
Okay. Or it could just have an update in teaching and learning. So
Yeah.
I'll include that as an agenda item. It's just an update of the actual professional supports.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh. Go ahead, Mr. Planis.
Yes, good evening. The plan, learning science, was done in parallel with the one in math. So both plans are exactly the same. We were planning for the two first sessions to be a Praxis 1 program, just like the one in science. The next two sessions were around the Common Core and examining the curriculum, looking into that. And then the final two sessions was more about building the planning in a classroom. And the last session is similar to the one that Ms. Scott Cham presented, which is having actual teachers sitting down and planning an actual lesson that they will do during the first week of teaching. So, we actually sat down together or spoke about it in this regards. One thing that might be different in math is that we are planning to separate the, we have a 4th through 8 certificate, and then we have a 7-12 certificate. So we were planning to have 2 tracks in order for both groups to, to practice for the Praxis 1, because they're different assessments, and also for the curriculum, because they're different Common Core standards for high school as well as middle school.
Thank you. Mr. Lombard, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. So at this moment, would someone like to make the motion?
I have one more question.
Oh, go right ahead.
Is study.com free for our teachers to use to prepare for the exam?
Oh, no, not free.
Will the
I signed up just to see what the format was and prepare. So I'm kind of taking some things out just to look at how they're formatting it. But it's like $60 a month.
And I know I asked this on the committee level, but Mr. Lombard brought up a great point. Just because I remember from committee doesn't mean everybody else does. Wait, I thought we were covering the costs for, we're not covering preparation for the test, so it's suggested to go to study.com, but it's not going to be covered by the district?
No, what they're paying for, I'm sorry, is for the 2-step increase. They're being paid for attending the training, but they are not being paid for, that background information. That's where, this is another thing. You're asking a really good question, and, they're going to have to do a little bit of homework because you are talking about, teaching middle school. So you are going to have to kind of front load a little bit. So no, they're not. The HR department, and in collaboration with the team facilitator, Mr. Brosnan and Mr. Correa, there was, I guess, not really enough resources to provide for us to be able to also pay for them to use study.com.
And when is the next upcoming exam?
The next upcoming, well, they have that standardized. I know that it's like every 6 weeks. So if you don't pass, you have to wait the following 6 weeks to be able to take it again. It's ongoing. So we're trying to encourage people to take the test, even for them to get an idea of what kind of questions that they're going to be asked. But I mean, I think it's, we're trying to get those people after, if this is approved, obviously, to get them in the classroom or get them in a session so they'll know exactly what to expect when they take that test.
And the district is paying for the test, at least the first time to take it, right?
That was not to my understanding what Mrs. Alto Dixon, no, they're not paying for the initial test. the candidate who wants to do the cross endorsement is responsible for paying for the test. They're paying for they're being bumped up 2 grades, and you're being paid for the PD sessions that they attend, but they still have to pass the test in order to get the cross endorsement.
All right.
Perhaps Ms. Alfred Dixon could chime in if that's incorrect. Thank you.
We are going to pay the cost for the first test attempt.
I stand corrected. I apologize.
Oh, don't apologize. It's okay.
Ms. Perrin?
Just one quick question in regards to test setting. I know with like tests like the CAT, there are different test settings where people are allowed to test at home individually. There's rules that are around that. Is that the same for practice now as well?
I'm sorry, Superintendent, can you repeat that?
Yes, I was just asking about the actual test setting. I know with like the CAT, people are allowed to take the tests at home individually. There's specific rules that are given to them, but they're allowed to take at home. Is that the same thing for the practice exams now as well, or are they still at select sites?
I am not sure. I am actually texting Michael Brosnan as we speak. I think that the setup for the test is based on the test taker. It's up to the candidate if they want to take the test from home or not.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Would someone like to make the motion?
Motion to approve the memorandum of agreement for a science endorsement to increase the certified teaching pool.
Second by Mr. Sokolovic. Any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We are
Thank you,
down to
folks.
our
Appreciate it.
last. Say it again?
Sorry, I just want to say thank you. Much appreciated.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. We are at our last agenda item, discussion and approval of performance evaluation criteria for interim superintendent Alicia N. Perrin. This qualifies for executive session. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion for executive session.
Second by Mr. Benahan. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Mr. Sokolovic oppose. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it. I'll let the record reflect that all those that are present now will go into executive session, both members online and in present. And we'll be back shortly. Joe, you have not started smiling. Okay, all right, so all of the board members are present that were in the executive session. They're now here with us now. Just to give an update, the board has agreed to the criteria for which we will evaluate Superintendent Ms. Perrin, and we will have updates at future meetings. Without further ado, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
all right. Oh,
Aye.
any discussion?
Aye.
All right, all in favor?
No
Aye.
discussion.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Everyone have a good night. Drive home
Be
safe.
safe, everyone.
you.
God bless you all.
Right.
Be careful, guys. It's snowing.